Well, is Mrs. Johnson on? Excuse me. It is 3 o'clock. Am I correct, Melanie?
Yes, sir. Yes,
3
sir.
o'clock. Council is Mrs. Johnson. Oh, there you are.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, council, it is 3 o'clock. It is always good to see you all, and it's even better that we can all see back. That's what's more important. But thank you all. Trust that everyone has had a great day. It is getting fall, and we're grateful for this day. Excuse me, I can assure you I'm not going through puberty, so don't think about that. I'm just clearing my throat. But again, good to see everyone at this time. I want to call this meeting to order. As we all know, as I always say, this is the work session in preparation for tomorrow meeting. So I am calling the meeting to order at this time. And also after that, we will go over the agenda for tomorrow. And let me ask the council to do this. If we have any questions, for the sake of time and for the sake when we're on TV, sometimes things can be perceived wrongly by the people that are watching it. So I want to strongly encourage, if we have any questions, let's try to ask them and answer them today, which they will be answered by Mr. Hunter and his team. So just let me stress, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please do that for the sake of time, but more importantly, for the sake when we're on TV, we can always make sure we look like we're in unison. Okay, our minds are clear with that. So with that being said, I would like to call on Councilman Bailey, if he can lead us with the invocation. Mr. Bailey.
If we could bow our heads, go to the Lord in prayer, please. Dear most gracious, loving Heavenly Father, we come to you every day as people that need your help. We come to you every day as people that want your help, but never of people that deserve your help. Thank goodness you love us enough that you make us worthy through your Son, Jesus Christ, and only through Jesus can we be worthy. Give us the wisdom, the courage, and all to guide this city, to guide ourselves and to guide our families in the ways that you would have us do. Let us remember that each thing we do, whether somebody sees us or not, you know what we've done, what we're doing, and whether we did it for the right reason or not. Keep our hearts pure, keep us humble. Use us in ways that we cannot understand how to be used, in ways that magnify your glory, in ways that we can never do on our own, Lord. Continue to guide us, show us direction, and let us always remember that your will be done. It'll never be our will, and it should not be. Watch over our citizens, watch over our department heads, watch over all of our employees. But more than that, Lord, watch over each one of us as individuals in our city, in our state, in our nation, and in this world. Lord, there's so much evil going on that we can't even comprehend it. It's within your plan, and I understand, Lord, that nothing on this earth happens without you knowing that it happens. Nothing will ever go past you, Lord, that you don't want to happen. And there's a reason for everything. Even when we can't see it, it still exists. I know this, I believe this, and I will always trust you, Lord, and help each one of us to trust each other. We have to play this together. We have to be a team. Even though we're individuals, we're on the same team. We need to show unity, but also always make our unity trustworthy and trustful. Make sure that the people understand what we're doing, and if they're not, help us to clarify it for them. Let each one of us learn to love each other as you first loved us. That is the greatest commandment of all, and that's probably the one we follow the shortest on each and every day. All these things I ask, most gracious, loving name there is, Jesus Christ, our risen Savior. Amen.
Amen. I just went out. I can hear everyone. I can't see you all, so I don't know where. Oh, okay. There it goes. Thank you, Councilman Bailey. With that being said, proceeding on, I will like to say this, Council. We did have Danita Vega that wanted to that requested to talk to the council. Mr. Hunter has gotten that resolved, so she will not be on Zoom with us. So that has been resolved. And so if you want to know how it would resolve, he could tell you all. But he has gotten it resolved. So we're thankful for that. So now heading on into the Planning Commission. Angel.
Yes, sir.
All right, I want to call on you at this time.
Okay. We had an acceptance of a rezone 11 plus or minus acres on the west side of Lakewood Drive and south of Holland Creek. They're proposing the rezone go from an R1, which is low density residential district, to a R3, which is a high density residential district. GGG Partners LLC, John Daniel Green, Dudley Elizabeth Green, and Brooks Harrison Green are the owners. Like I said, this was up for acceptance. They did have, the developer was at the meeting. There wasn't a whole bunch of questions asked or answered at that meeting since it was up for acceptance. We have had a lot of calls in engineering about people against this rezone so far. So we expect it to be a lot of people at the public hearing, which is next week. We did have a meeting with planning and all the other departments the next day with Miss Leslie Green, who's also a part of this development. And she indicated that they're wanting to rezone it to make it into like a more retirement housing, a multifamily housing for a retirement village. And that's why they were going for the R3 designation. Our main concern on this piece of property is Holland Creek. Of course, there's a floodway and a flood zone that runs through that. So that's something that we have pointed out to Planning Commission, and we again will make we will state that again at the public hearing, because that is a concern. We have a flood ordinance where people have to build up to certain standards, but you cannot build in a floodway. And we just have some concerns about how they can develop that property without trying to do that. Like I say, it will be on the next Planning Commission meeting for a public hearing and approval. Any questions on that one?
Any question, council? Excuse me.
What are most of the people that were concerned about it? What is their concern?
Some of it was, of course, it was going to increase traffic. Some of it was, it was going to just degrade their property value because it's going from an R1 to an R3. Some of it was they were concerned it's going to be subsidized housing, and they didn't want that there. And they just didn't think that it was a good spot to put multifamily residential there. And Tracy may be able to expound on that. She did do a good job looking back through the comprehensive plan and everything. And it does meet, our objective in the comprehensive plan. So, and I don't know, hopefully y'all have a chance to look through that Planning Commission packet. We're trying now to add a lot of additional information in our reports. So there is a plethora of information in that. And I do recommend that y'all review that.
And this is 11 acres, isn't it, Angel?
Yes, sir.
11 acres.
Mm-hmm.
But okay.
Well, it's still not guaranteed that they can. I guess they could design anything they needed to make it work in a flood area, but they hadn't brought any kind of plans to you to show that they can make that work or anything, have they?
No, sir, they haven't. And, they indicated that they didn't want to do that additional work until, it was determined if they would get the proper zoning or not.
But they usually don't do that to what phase?
Yeah, they don't normally do that until they would actually get the property rezoned. And then if what's going to come through a Planning Commission, then a preliminary plat. But if it's just going to be, say apartment complex, it doesn't have to go through Planning Commission. So they wouldn't turn in anything until after the proper zoning has been obtained.
Well, that makes sense, because it's extra cost on them. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Any other question, council? Okay, Mrs. Moore, you can continue.
Yes, sir. We did have one more. We had an acceptance of a rezone 0.47 plus or minus acres located at 1300 South Railroad Street. They're wanting to rezone from an AO, which is apartment and office district, to a C3 neighborhood commercial district. Cattering Properties LLC, Rodney Niles is the owner. This is near that little strip mall that's already out there on South Railroad Street, across from the power company or Bell's,
The telephone company.
telephone company,
Telephone,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's already a daycare in that facility, and this is what they're wanting to do with that piece of property is to also have a daycare facility. And it's from my understanding, and Gil may be able to answer better, but it's dealing with the same daycare facility.
That is correct.
That
But
was
this
approved. for
property on the,
acceptance.
let me understand something, Ms. Angel. This property on the opposite side of the telephone company, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Yes,
It was, I'm
it's
sorry. Mr.
limited anyway because of the railroad sitting there
Yeah.
anyway, right
Mhm.
behind it. So there's not a whole lot other than you could use that for, other than what they're trying to design it for, kinda. It's just, you know, a long, narrow strip of building, so to speak.
Yes, sir. And like I say, it's already an AO classification, but a daycare facility has to be zoned into commercial C3. So that's why they're going. And, you know, we didn't foresee any major problems with them going ahead and having this facility at that location. So it was accepted by the Planning Commission. We haven't had any calls from anyone concerned about the daycare facility or the rezoning in this area, but it will be up for public hearing and approval or denial at the next Planning Commission meeting.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Angel. Even if they put a daycare facility there, they're not concerned about the noise or the train moving through that area?
No, sir. I
Already
mean,
there.
they already have a daycare facility in that a little strip mall now. And from what I understand, it's just going to be sort of an extension of that facility.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, any other question, council? Okay, Angel, there's another one, isn't it?
Yes, sir. The only other thing we had on the agenda was the reelection of officers. So Pat Howard was reelected as the chairman. Jimmy Davis was reelected as the vice chairman. And Miss Annie Lindsay was reelected as the parliamentarian. And that's all that we had on the agenda.
Okay. Any question, council, for Angel? All minds are clear? Okay,
Yes.
then we'll proceed on. I'm sorry, go ahead. That was Ms. Johnson.
I said all minds are clear, yes.
Oh, okay. All right, well, next council on the agenda at this time on the city clerk, I'd like to call on Melanie. Melanie?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to go over some dates on your October,
Okay.
November 2021 calendar. Tomorrow morning is our council meeting at 9 a.m., which right now is scheduled via Zoom.
Mhm.
On the 21st, there was a DRA meeting scheduled that has been canceled. I believe Councilmember Day, he's going to be out of town the October the 24th through the 27th. And then also I wanted to say before I get into November's calendar, the the governor did send out a proclamation on October the 8th stating that she's going to put an end to Zooming as of October the 31st, unless of course she extends that out. So what we're looking at are our work sessions and our council meetings and any other meetings in November being in person, if that does expire on the 31st without her extending that. So November the 1st, we have a 3 p.m. Work session. November the 2nd, a council meeting at 9 a.m., which both of those would be held at the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center. On Wednesday, November the 3rd, we have the graduation ceremony at the ALM in Montgomery. That's at 2 o'clock. I believe we have 2 members of council graduating from that. On November the 9th, there's a planning commission meeting. On November the 11th, there's a Veterans Day holiday. On November the 15th, there's a work session at 3 p.m. And November the 16th, the council meeting at 9 a.m. Both of those more than likely is going to be in person at the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center. November the 23rd, Planning Commission meeting was canceled due to the Thanksgiving holidays. And the Thanksgiving holidays are November the 25th and 26th. That concludes the October and November calendars. Then also, once a year, we do the 2022 city calendar. I haven't heard anything from anyone, so I'm assuming that all the dates look good for everything we had on there. So we'll, unless y'all have any comments on it today or tomorrow, the next time you get your council meeting, we'll actually have it in the front of your books. The only thing I see that might could change is in May, the League of Municipalities Convention. I had it slotted May the 21st through the 24th because I had saw that somewhere out there on the internet. But then I saw something else that had different dates earlier in May than that. I tried to reach out to the ALM, but they said they couldn't confirm those dates right now. So as soon as I can get those dates confirmed, then I will adjust our calendar if I need to. And did y'all have any problems or do I need to adjust anything else that you know of on that calendar?
In the event that something comes up, what kind of deadline would it be? What's the drop dead date before you can make any changes?
Our next council meeting is November the 2nd. So we will put our books together at the end of
Okay.
October, so around the 29th. So if I could hear something by the 27th or 28th of October, as far as making any adjustments, and we can make adjustments after it. It's
No.
just, just easier to do them before we get them all printed out and send them around to everybody.
I was just asking just in the event that, a council member needs to have something done. So for the sake of council, will we all agree that by the 29th, if there's any changes or anything that each of us would like to have, that would be the drop dead date? Could we agree upon that, council?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
We're talking about November, right?
no, this month,
October.
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 Yeah, so so
That's fine.
can we,
That's
can we agree to say then if there's anything that needs to be changed by one of us, the drop dead date is the 29th at 5? Could we say that, Ms. Lee, at 5
That'll
o'clock?
be fine. Yes, sir.
All council, everyone's okay with that?
That's fine. Fine, man.
Mrs. Johnson? Hello?
On mute, sorry about that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
are you okay with that? I've heard from all the other council persons. Is that okay?
Yes.
29th? Okay. Mrs. Lee?
That
By
was
5.
okay by 5. Thank y'all. And that's
Okay.
everything I had, Mayor.
All right, the council, any questions or comments that we need to ask or say to Mrs. Lee? All right, if not, under the city manager, and any other thing we need to discuss before we get into the agenda? Council. Okay, if not, let's proceed on with the agenda. And again, I do want to reiterate, the work sessions for that reason, this was most of the work needs to be done at. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask now. So for the sake of time and also for the sake of, us being on TV and showing that we are in unison. So with that said, I'm going to reiterate what Mrs. Lee said, that the meeting is at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's done by Zoom, 9 a.m. We will start the meeting at that time. I will call the meeting to order. And after that, we will again ask Councilman Bailey to lead us with the invocation as well as do the pledge.
Okay,
Okay? All right, Steve?
I'm fine.
Okay. And then after that, presentations and proclamation, we have 3 proclamations. Recognizing, the first one is recognizing Constant M. Houston. And Mr. Davis will be there on Zoom. Is that correct, Mrs. Lee? We will,
Yes,
we
sir,
will-
that's correct.
we will ask the clerk to read a proclamation recognizing Constant Houston, as we all know, spent several years with Red Cross. So we will ask Ms. Lee to read that proclamation. And then after that one is also a proclamation recognizing Head Start Awareness Month, and Tracy Belt will also be on Zoom with us. And we will present that to her, recognizing this month as Head Start Awareness Month. And then after that one is a proclamation recognizing White Cane Awareness Day. as we've seen, Jerry Bentley, and this one is, done where it's, we always talk about inclusion, and this is people that are blind or has been legally considered blind. And we will be presenting a proclamation to Mr. Bentley and recognizing White Cane Awareness Day. I had never heard of it. That's the first time I ever heard of, but I think it's a great thing based on me reading the proclamation, and they do a sincere job, because we never know sometimes. And so after that, council, under the city clerk, we'll ask the council that we take these two schedule of the meeting minutes separately due to the fact that Mr. Bailey was not in town. So I will ask and request the council that we take those separately for that reason, okay? And I will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of the October the 4th work session, as well as October the 5th council meeting. And again, I will ask that we take those separately, okay?
That's fine.
Okay. Then after that, on the city council, if there's any unfinished business at the time, we will bring it up then. And after that, we will proceed on with the resolutions. And the first one on the administration is a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to sign and enter into a contract agreement with Barbara Mansfield for the purchase of 0.33 acres, more or less, located on 11th Avenue South, in an amount not to exceed $7,700. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and I will ask for a motion on that resolution. Comments, questions, or discussion? And Mr. Hunter has been stating this, how we needed more property for the cemetery. And so this is the first one that we will ask for a motion for approval for that purpose. Comments, questions, or discussion, council?
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask Mr. Hunter a question. That property, I know where it is, straight across, Fifth Avenue to the left of those apartment down in there. Is that property left to those apartment down there, Mr. Hunter? Is that a wet area? It's not wet in there, is it?
No, sir, we wouldn't get it if it was wet, Mr. Day.
Yes, sir.
You know better than that.
Okay.
But we no, we got on the back side down at the end of the street by Fifth. You got a creek in that area down there you got to run through, but this is to the west of that.
Yeah, it goes straight up in what
To the
apartment is
west.
that? Up in there where those apartments to the right? And
It's
just to the left?
actually, it's right off the backside of, if you're coming from Seal Road direction on 4th, come right down fourth place there. From Seal Road.
Yeah.
The first avenue you get to is 11th, and you turn,
To the
you go
right.
back in there, you make that right, then you hit 5th. But it's at the beginning on that end. It's not on the eastern end. It's on the
Okay.
front side.
know
Both
where
pieces,
that I drove
the
back
next
there. Okay,
piece will
thank
be
you, Mr.
right
Hunter.
next to it. Yes, sir,
Mhm.
because you go back there to White's Quarter, they called
right.
it years ago. But it's right there on that part before you get back there on there. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah, I drove back there. All right,
yes,
thank you.
sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Any other questions or comment, discussion, council?
Yeah, this one and the next one, they both to do with the same cemetery, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Both of them are
All right.
right. They join one another right there in adjacent.
Mhm.
Got a piece in the middle. So I had Sean working on this with them, and he did a good job with the families that own these properties.
Right. This same one you've been talking about for a couple of
Mhm.
months, so having to extend it bigger.
That's correct. Yes, sir. So it's going to allow us to buy some lifetime with the cemeteries in that area. And we're continuously looking for more. We gotta construct a large cemetery, and we're in the hunt for the property right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Go ahead, Mrs. Johnson.
Are you just looking for property to establish one or to add to an existing one?
We had no choice but to add to this particular one, but we got an eye on a couple of properties where it's large enough to create a large cemetery. And that's what we are trying to do at this point in time. This was something to buy time because the lifetime of that cemetery is just of those two cemeteries, Community and Edmonds, are just
Mhm.
about used up. At the same time, West End Cemetery, we're working in that area too, off of 16th Avenue with some adjacent property that's there. And so we are working with that. And it's, I went over this for the past several years, what we are needing to do, but and the reason I'm not saying nothing about any property that we have our eye on now is because just like you all know, property tends to go up very high when it comes to the city trying to purchase.
Yeah, every time.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's part, but yes, trying to extend the life of these and get where we can put a lot of, that's one place you gotta go to visit. So we're trying to get the right setup. Let me put it that way.
Speaking of cemetery, let me ask you about this one. It's been well over some months ago. The one right across from Westview Elementary, right off the 280 bypass there.
Ingersoll,
It's just a little cemetery. It gated.
yes, that's,
It's as of what, about 4 or 5 graves in there. Was that personally owned and the city took over, or who owns it? Did you hear me?
go ahead. Yes, I hear you.
Okay, I was asking, was it personally owned, or was it, is it owned by the city? Someone asked me, I told them, we have 11 in the city, but I wasn't sure that was one of them.
Yes, ma'am, it is. It's one of them, the city that we actually had to go in and condemn, like we did all of the other cemeteries, because it is one that we were maintaining. So it went through the same process as all of the other ones, but it is a city maintained cemetery.
That's the
Oh.
old Ingersoll
Mhm.
Cemetery from Mr. Jim Ingersoll. And the Ingersoll family owned all that property all the way up through the bypass. So that was one of their private cemeteries that a lot of family had died out and there was no one to maintain that. So we had several like that. So we had to include that in when we took over the other ones.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question, council?
Yeah, go back to the one that we're talking about now, Edmonds and community cemeteries. Purchasing this land, will that double the size of what's already there or about a fourth bigger? How much larger would it be?
We hope to get approximately 300 graves out of that area. Like Mr. Hunter said, we were working, there's another piece of property in that area that we would like to acquire if we could. That would yield about 500 graves total. But with what we have down there now, 300 graves is going to greatly improve the situation.
Okay, good.
Angel, let me ask you this, Angel. Once, Mr. Hunter, once you get that property acquired for a cemetery and we start putting graves in there, are you gonna have a headstone or just gonna be flat grave with a baby bouquet of flowers on?
I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Day, because that's where we're having problems at, because
Yeah, I know.
we had a test trial on a piece there not too long ago. And I just had a talk with city engineer this morning about this, laying down the rules and regulations for cutting that area. We're trying to do the same thing in the new cemetery. Once we get this, if we achieve our goal to get this large body of land and establish another cemetery, it would be just like the one that's out on 280 bypass, because as you all know, and people may not like it because people love headstones, but they got to go to a different thing, because those cemeteries and the labor and the amount of time it takes, and especially with our workforce being the way it is, and that's throughout America. When you know it's an intense piece of project of work when you're trying to take care of, maintain those cemeteries, because when they have so many headstones in them like that and they're small, you have to go to weed eaters. And
That's right.
You can't hardly use lawnmowers in those. But when we establish a new one, that would be, that's going to be a must, that you go with the flat headstone that's in there for recognizing. But it's been a problem there. So I don't know how we're going to handle this in this new portion, but we're going to try to enforce that.
That's a good idea, Mr. Hunter, because I know you're talking about weed eating and you're talking about time consuming.
That's correct. It's tough there, and especially when your workforce is at a minimum. And it seems like it's getting, in watching the news, it seems like it's getting stronger as far as going against a lot of heavy labor out there in the field.
Thank
One
you.
other question if we can.
Go ahead, Steve.
Talking about new cemeteries, probably not existing cemeteries, but a lot of your cemeteries are going now to where they allow you to stack in the grave sites. Would
Yeah.
that be an option that the city would allow them to do also, or do you know?
I know they do that in the federal cemeteries. They do that, the one in Fort Mitchell also.
And I
So,
think they do it now at Lakeview, I believe. Lakeview does it now.
yeah, they running out of space.
Right. So I'm
I'm
just
not,
wondering that-
I'm not for sure, but that's one of the things we can talk about as being an option, especially where's a family.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. You can take 300 sites and, turn it in, to as many as 600 possibly, but there'd be some that wouldn't have family members to have to do that, but where the option would be available, it might be something that, could be talked about possibly.
Yeah, I just don't want to be on the bottom.
There you go. That means you don't want to be first.
It's just something about it.
Yeah.
Well,
You might.
just don't
And
be first.
more than likely, you're gonna run into some issues there.
Or I don't want to
Yeah,
go
but
no way, but
We won't have no say so don't worry about it.
I hope not.
Well, just make sure that you don't pass away first.
That's the key.
Then you have the option. If you pass away first, there is no option.
Well,
And you won't have a say so like the mayor said, you won't know.
but you know what? I did hear Ms. Moore say 300 to 500, but when you think about it, it's just a matter of time that we're gonna have to acquire more land, even with this
Oh.
council or somebody else. Because
Always.
No, that's
I mean,
not.
that's an
not only-
ongoing process.
Not only that, it's a lot more, it's even a
Yeah.
lot more to it. We have to, it's,
It's a lot.
you gotta have multiple areas for cemeteries.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Next, we will proceed on with resolutions on the administration. And this is part of the same discussion we just had, but there's a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to sign and enter into a contract agreement with George Mike Corcoran for the purchase of 1.9 acres, more or less, located on Fifth Street South in an amount not to exceed $23,481. Council, I will ask Mrs. Lee to read the resolution, and I will ask for a motion for that motion to approve or deny. Any comments, questions, or discussion? And as we've discussed it, they're all in the same proximity of. Okay, all minds are clear on that?
Yes.
So proceeding on, council, on the resolutions and on the administration, is a resolution in reference to the mayor and city manager to enter into a contract agreement with East Alabama Chamber of Commerce in an amount not to exceed $35,000. So I will ask Ms. Lee to read that resolution, and I will ask for a motion to approve or deny. Comments, questions, or discussion?
I looked at the contract as well. I looked at number 3, number 4, number 5. On that second page there. Let me ask, maybe Sean can answer this, Mr. Hunter one. Are they actually involved there, doing what they're supposed to do?
Right now, Mr. Day, it's a lot of involvement with economic development, planning, the city itself. We're doing a lot of work together now. So you will see a lot of things, Parks and Rec, and a lot of it's in there. So I'll put it this way, it's gotten better.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it's better. I don't mind saying that. It's better in the way we're handling things and stuff. It had some growing pains, but it's much better now.
Well, let me ask you another question, Mr. Hunter. I think I asked this last year. I forgot what the answer was. I know we given 35,000. Yeah. What, you probably don't know this, but we're giving 35,000. And I know whatever the East Alabama Chamber of Commerce do beneficial to the community as a whole. And I'm asking this question this way. Russell County is also involved in that because they benefited from it as well. Is that right? I'm mistaken or what?
Russell County is, has an advantage, though, when it comes to this thing. Phoenix City sits in Russell County.
Yeah, I know.
So, and we are the largest city that's under Russell County, with no matter which way anyone to look at that. So when it comes down to it, that's what we have to look at. We're going to be the people that benefit from it the most. We have our own economic development department and planning department. That works. You know, they had a little separation with the funding that went along with Russell County, because through the hotel lodging taxes, rather, that comes in, you know, that was changed a while back. And they have a economic development department down at Russell County. So it works out, I guess, the best way it can.
Yeah, I know the person that, you know, working for Russell County. I don't want to call that name, but is does he also work with our economic development department?
We don't have any problems with him. I guess we try to keep a good relationship with everyone, you
All
know,
right.
so, you know, I don't, you know how I am, Mr. Day. We're going to do what we're going to do.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, and I would say
a
this.
part of it and let them follow which way it
Yeah.
goes, because I've given up on that a long time ago. So it seems like everybody's working together and doing a lot better.
Yeah, we set the standards. That's fine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, and one thing that Mr. Hunter said, Phoenix City is in Russell County. But
Yeah.
this is the most important thing, and we have to be inclusive with that. And you all have heard me say this many times before, and I don't say it, but it's just reiterate what Standards and Poor's says. We are the economic driver, so we know we still need to do what's right, as Mr. Hunter said, and so things has gotten better. And even before it did, we've always stepped up to the plate because of those metrics that we know based on what Standards and Poor's said. So we just keep heading in the right direction, and we've always stepped up and did the right thing.
Can I say something, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I believe this is a no-brainer that you have to do this, just for the fact that the East Alabama Chamber works, for this whole area. Smith Station included, Phoenix City included, Russell County included. And I just believe that, they're going to make the right contacts for whoever needs to be located, wherever they choose to locate. But Phoenix City is always, in my opinion, going to be probably the largest driver in that, and going to probably get most of the value from it by most of them located in Phoenix City when it comes to different things, because we have the infrastructure, we have the school system, we have the police department, we have, we just have fire department, we just have so many reasons for someone to locate in Phoenix City, not taken away from Russell County, not taken away from Smith Station. But I just believe Phoenix City will always be the ones that's going to get most of the economic impact from it. So I just believe that Mr. Dennis Beeson and them do a wonderful job over there. They stay on top of things. He tries to stay, involved in this whole area. And I think, that it's something that, as the mayor stated, it's something, and as our city manager stated, that it's something that, we need to continue, and we need to do the best we can, and want it to be good for our whole area, not just Phoenix City included. I want to see all of us grow, because if everybody around here grows, Phoenix City, even when Columbus grows, sometimes Phoenix City still gets some some bleed over from it, and we still grow. So we're in an area together, so we have to work together in unison, not work against each other. There's too much of that going on already. So, I always want to see that attitude go away myself. That's just me.
Well, Mr. Bailey, I agree with the statement, that the remarks that you have made, and I've just asked a question from a finance standpoint. And I realize ever since I've been on council, Phoenix City is the economic engine for the county of Russell County. I understand all of that, and that's why I made the statement. East Alabama Chamber of Commerce, it's important to the whole community as a whole, and that includes Smith Station, Russell County, and Phoenix City as well, and those surrounding area, even part of Fort Benning, to become active in this community as well. I had the opportunity to go down to the event on Friday evening, and I was just surprised the number of people and the support they had down there. And well, okay, Mr. Bubba out there, Bubba Copeland was there, and we had a good time down there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. And next, proceeding on, council, on the building department. We have a public hearing and approval of 4 resolutions in reference to the fixing of costs incurred by the city of Phenix City for the removal of substandard structures and the establishment of special assessments upon properties located. And I will read those 4 properties out. And we will take them in one, but I will ask for the public hearing first and give anyone that opportunity that would like to address the council. And I will have a number to recommend or advise whomever would like to address the council to call in on. Okay?
Fine.
We will have that number, and again, I will read those out, but I will ask for a public hearing to give anyone an opportunity. And then I will ask Mrs. Lee to have 1 reading, 1 master resolution reading, and from that time, we would, at the pleasure of the council, we would take them all in 1 vote. Okay, is all minds clear with that?
Fine.
Okay.
Yes,
And again, we will have the numbers for them to call in. Also, I guess, Melanie, will we have a way for them to get on Zoom? If that's, I think we have done that, provided that in the past. I don't think it's ever been used that I can remember. So would it just be by phone call?
I mean, they can come in on Zoom and, you know.
And I'm asking, so I'll know how to address it. I know by phone, so should I just address it also by Zoom also, or just by phone? I guess the reason why I'm asking.
Right. And we had on the public notice via, you know, at the location or via Zoom. So if they want to Zoom in, that's fine. We'll just have to look for, I guess IT, I have to look for somebody that's just come in so we can promote them up to see if that, you know, if they're coming in to address those items.
Okay. So, but so it is okay if I say by phone or by Zoom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure before. Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comment, discussion, council? Okay,
No.
proceed. I'm sorry, Mrs. Johnson.
No, I said no.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Proceeding on, council, on the engineering department. We have a resolution in reference to purchasing 1 freight line PAC PACMAC KBF-20-ML W/TKB 1824 wrap all from Ingram Equipment Company through Sourcewell contract number 060920-NAF in the amount not to exceed $163,413.76. I will ask the clerk to read that resolution, council, and I will ask for a motion to approve or deny. Comments, questions, or discussion?
Yes, Mayor. I read this and I know it's a high dollar item and something that we really need every day we want to purchase. What that used for, Mr. Hunter? Miss Angel, what that used for?
It's the limbs and debris truck that you see right around Mr. Day with a big trailer on it. And then it has sort of the claw mechanism on the back where we pick up the limbs and debris and put
Oh,
it
okay,
into
the
the
thing
trailer.
that like a claw and load on the truck.
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think they'll be requesting this if the other one was working. Am I right?
Yeah,
This is a
Eh,
need.
it's-
and this
it's
is
something
for-
that we need. Yeah.
it's emergency.
Yeah.
Is this unit in stock over there? Do you know?
And they're not certain on that. So that's why I'm trying to go ahead and get it in. They said the quicker we could get it in, the quicker they could try to get us one. So that's where I guess we're racing against time. You know, they won't confirm anything because I guess they're waiting on the actual paperwork. So, but this is one that's needed. We had one, our truck 107 that went down, the frame cracked. So it's not safe to drive anymore. So that is why we are doing this as an emergency purchase. And thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah.
But
One other-
we will
one other
also
question
keep
on
that
that.
open for parts or something like that. Will we? Are we just going to get rid of it?
No, sir. I mean, we'll look to see what we can use out of it, Mr. Day, and we'll make the best use out of it as possible.
Okay, all right.
One other question on that. How long will this I know we've run into this in the past when they didn't have something in stock. How long will this guarantee on this price hold? Is there a
It's 30
certain length of time?
30 days. So
Okay,
if if y'all do approve it as of tomorrow, we'll let the Ingram Equipment know that it has been approved, and that will lock in the price for us.
good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we all know the supply chain's been broken also.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Heavily
Yep.
broken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Moore. Thank you, council. Proceeding on the engineering department is a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to sign and accept the proposal from Willard Construction Incorporation to add 2 additional siphons at the Lakewood Park Dam Repair Project. And we'll ask Mrs. Lee to read that resolution. And I will ask council for a motion on this resolution. Comments, questions, or discussion?
Just one question. Undoubtedly, the siphon that's being used up there now with the excess rain and all we've had is, of course, is not going to be able to siphon it down if they've already been trying to do that. Are they fairly sure that these 2 will bring it down in a workable length of time?
They are fairly sure, Mr. Bailey, but if we continue to have the rain like we had a week or so ago, I mean, that's something, you know, that no one really plans on. The watershed is so big for that lake. That's why we need the 2 additional siphons. But we hope with 3 working that we can get it down to a manageable state. Just, we don't need rain for a little bit.
Right. Now, this is the upper lake you're talking about. Is that correct?
Yes,
Mhm.
sir, that's correct.
Okay. So it comes in off the highway 280 and everything over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was my question, because I know that they look like they could, you know, they would continue to rent them to us or whatever. And I know we can't control the rain. That's the act of God. But I was just thinking under normal circumstances, hopefully this would be enough to get it on down.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other comments, questions, or discussion, council? And I will ask for a motion on that resolution. All minds are clear. Proceeding on the ordinance. This is the second reading, the ordinance to amend section 4.16-C of the merit system rules and regulations of the city of Phenix City, Alabama. We're not asked Mrs. Lee or the clerk to read this. This is a second reading. I will ask for a motion on this ordinance. And this is the second reading. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay, with that, we'll call on our city attorney, Mr. Graham.
Yes, sir. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have 3 claims on the agenda. The first claim is filed by Willie McCall. This got inadvertently put on the agenda without us having the memorandum from the department head.
Mhm.
We can either table it or we can pull it, whichever y'all would prefer to do.
Is it so? And I noticed too, it 6 months almost had ran out, didn't it? On this one, didn't it? It seems.
Yeah, but if you noticed in there, we went out there supposedly now, according to Mr. McCall, and did some work.
That's the one I was talking to Mr. Hunter about. Okay, so it appears that it's gonna come back up, so we do probably need to just table it
Okay, all right.
with council. Would you all agree with that? Since it,
That's fine.
Mr. Bailey and Mr. Gordy and Ms. Johnson?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Are you all
Yes.
okay with that?
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we will table that one. I will ask for a motion.
Okay. All right,
to
the
table.
second one is filed by Harvita J. Florence. Ms. Florence states that she hit a pothole on 10th Avenue. You've got the memorandum from the department head, and we did not have notice that that pothole that was there. So therefore, we're not liable.
Okay,
And we have, Angel put in there that they had placed coal mix in the hole until it can be packed. So there shouldn't be any more problems with it. The last one is filed by John Foy and Associates on behalf of Arlea Mitchell. She was injured at Westview Elementary School on the playground, broke her arm, I believe. Of course, we don't have anything to do with Westview School, and my recommendation is to deny this claim, and I'll write him a letter and tell him that, you know, the school system is a separate entity from the city of Phoenix City, and that should take care of it.
Why would they put Russell County in there? I wonder. I
I don't
noticed
know.
they just.
I guess
Russell County
because
School
Phoenix
System.
City's in Russell County. I mean, it's crazy.
Mm.
They don't know what they're doing, really. I mean, but, and look, I need to, for y'all's information, I need to make y'all aware of something. I think at our last meeting, there was a claim on there filed by Mr. Udonis Thomas.
Mhm.
And Mr. Thomas had damage to his vehicle where he had hit a pothole. We approved it, and we paid the lowest estimate based on what he turned in. Now he's coming back and saying that we shortchanged it, that one of the estimates was the invoice where he paid to have the tire and all fixed. Now, you know, he came by, picked up the check, signed the release, and then he says, I think it's less than $100. Is that correct, Melanie?
Yes, it was, what, 2803 difference, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so, but the reason I wanted to bring this up to y'all was I talked to him and told him that we would not bring it back up. And he threatened to go to the news media and hire an attorney. I don't think he's gonna find an attorney to sue us for $28. You know, in case y'all start getting calls on it, I just wanted to let y'all know what the background on it is.
I saw some of that on that thing that day, and I think what the deal was, everybody else had the tire plus mounting, balancing all included. And the
Right.
one we went with, it was just to purchase the tire with no mounting, balance or anything included. But he's the one that turned that in. You're supposed to look at what you're turning in.
It's the
That's
lowest
right,
bid.
and-
It's the lowest bid. So
And
that's
like I
what-
said, he came by, picked the check up, signed the release,
Mhm.
and you know, that's just the way it goes.
Well, you only get one bite of the apple.
There you
Yeah.
go.
All right.
Mayor and council, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Graham.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Hunter, you have anything you'd like
Just,
to add or take away?
no, just want to advise everybody with the current state that we're going through in America. I would hope everybody would, if you don't do it, start watching the nightly news, pick a channel, but watch the news. It can answer a lot of questions for you and what's going on in America and the strikes that are going on right now throughout America. Not only that, the slowdown and being able to have transports to get supplies to stores. They're advising that we won't have a lot of things in stores coming into December. They're advising you to do whatever you can do right now as far as shopping for Christmas and doing a lot of different things like that, because it's tough out there with people going on strike in different areas. I'm glad, and I thank the council too for helping us approve things that acknowledge our employees, that they are essential people and they're dependent on, and that we can see what they're going through, because in some of these places, they're deeming themselves as feeling like they was looked at as non-essential. And it's some very important places throughout the United States is on strike right now. And it's going to cause a lot of problems throughout in every state that we have right now. So I'm hoping that you can take time to watch a lot of this. So that'll make us be able to have better conversations with one another about what's going on and why we are having problems too at the same time. So, and thank everybody for being patient in the job that we're trying to do, because it's difficult.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. thanks to council. Only thing I would say, with all these things that are happening and bad things, I always say this, to people, let's just learn how not to be. And, we have a great opportunity in this city, thanks to the leadership of this team and thanks to the leadership of this council. And, we're optimists. We're going to be optimistic. And the reason why we're optimistic is because, because we walk in our integrity and we're transparent. So
Mayor, not to interrupt you, but I forgot something. I really did something that's very important. We talked about it a little bit
go
earlier,
ahead.
and I want to show y'all something. Can you trying to see?
You're trying to hold up something. We can't.
My camera is not.
Oh,
working.
yeah, we see your young
It
picture.
should. Colin Powell.
Who was that, a Cub Scout in that
That-
picture?
that's a baby face Wallace Hunter right there. Back a long time ago, 40-something years ago. Colin Powell, one of a national hero and a person that I looked up to a lot, and a lot of people have. And y'all know he served in Fort Benning and he lived in Phenix City once upon a time, years ago. But it was sad to hear that about him on the news this morning. And the chief just got back from Washington, D.C., where they was honoring a lot of the people that have lost their life during this COVID. And to see another person with complications from that, it really started the morning off in a rut. That's pretty sad news, to hear about him during this pandemic, and with the chief just coming back, returning from ceremonies and stuff where they was honoring people in DC. And I hope he'll speak on that for a couple of seconds before we get off here too, Mayor. But thank you.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I forgot to say that.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. Chief,
Yeah.
anything you want to add?
Absolutely, yes. I appreciate the city manager bringing that up because it was a very emotional trip. I left Wednesday and was able to attend the candlelight vigil on Thursday night, where Mayor Garland, the U.S. Attorney General, spoke and recognized the fallen officers, including our own Gail Green. Joe Biden also presided over the memorial service in D.C. in front of the Capitol on Saturday. I was able to spend time with Gail's daughter and son and her brother there in D.C. We had a very good trip, and it was nice to know that the nation supports their fallen officers, particularly those that have fallen during this pandemic. COVID-19 has really hit law enforcement hard. Those officers are having to be in the field. They can't work from home and solve problems like they have to, and so they've been out in the field. And Gail was no different. Gail was at work every day. She had people from all over the community coming in her office all the time. She had to do what she had to do. Even with the protections that we tried to afford her, I mean, it was still not enough. And it was a difficult week, but I think it was still gratifying. And I was glad I was able to go, and glad I was able to escort Gail's family to place the rose in the memorial. But Gail's name, if any of you ever get a chance to go to DC, I encourage you to stop by the National Law Enforcement Monument. Gail's name has been engraved on the wall, and it will be there forevermore. She's the third officer from Phenix City and the fifth from Phenix City. The city of Phenix City, there's two from Girard from back in one from 1895 and one from 1905. But those names are engraved on the wall, and they will be forever remembered for the sacrifices that they've given to this community and the hard work and service that they have done. So again, I appreciate you letting me go. I appreciate the chief for letting me go for that weekend and take care of that detail. It was a work trip, but it was very, very, very personal trip too. So I appreciate it. And again, I encourage anybody that ever gets a chance to go to DC to definitely stop by and see that memorial. It's over 25,000 names now on that memorial, spanning the history of our United States. And each one of those names has a story, just like Gail's story. So it's important to remember those officers and what they've meant to our communities, keep them safe.
Mayor, can I say something about that?
Sure.
I read an article the other day, and the #1 cause of death for police officers in the United States is now COVID-19.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that, and I'm sure that all public safety has seen an increase in the death, firefighters, everybody, and it's all tied to COVID-19.
And he's right. And I'll tell you something else. Anecdotally, we can tell you that deaths overall in our community, or if you ask any of the funeral directors in our community what they're going through, you ask the cemeteries, and when we just talked about having to add land to cemeteries, that's not just affecting law enforcement, it's affecting all of us. So it is a big deal. 453 this year, and actually that's over 2 years because they couldn't have, they didn't have the memorial last year because of COVID, so they had to postpone it. And actually, it's usually in May when they have this police week, so they had to postpone it till October. But there was 453 that represented officers from 2019 and 2020 who passed. And while we were up there, obviously, I think y'all probably saw in the news that we lost an officer in Houston, Texas. That was the 7th officer Houston, Texas has lost in the last 2 years. So those names continue to grow, and every year, next year in 2022, those officers that have fallen in 2021 will be added to those names. And so it's a continuing battle. Over the years, we've only averaged in our profession about 120 to 150 a year. Those 2 years alone, as you can tell, with 450 between 2 years, that's way up from our normal 120 or 125 that we typically have averaged in a year. So we have seen some reductions, but it's still very high. It's probably about 50% more than that normal still going right now. So keep those officers in your prayers, and Jimmy's right, completely right. Firefighters, EMS, the whole profession that has to work out in the field has really suffered during this pandemic, and we really touched us hard. So, but again, appreciate you letting us go. And we had our motor squad up there too. I want to recognize them. They always go, even when we don't have a line of duty death like we did this year with Gail. We always have sent our motor squad for the last several years, and they escort the families. And so what happens is the families of all the fallen officers converge, and they stay at the select hotels in and around DC and Alexandria, Virginia. And our motor squad, they go up with motor squads from all over the country, and they escort the tour buses to the various events. There's support events for children, support events for families, survivors, co-workers, you name it. And they escort them through these memorials, both Thursday night candlelight vigil as well as the Saturday morning memorial that they have in front of the Capitol. So it's really a rewarding experience for them too. But our FOP locally helps fund that. They actually pay for the hotel room, and then the police department, we use seized funds to help augment that by paying for their food and gas. So it's kind of a shared event. It's not just the police department that does that. It's the FOP that really puts a lot into it as well. So we appreciate them doing that every year, and particularly in this year when we had an officer to be honored. So it was a good event, and we look forward to continue support from that.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Graham. Anything else, council? If not, I just say again, let's with all the bad things that are happening, we're going to stay optimistic. And the reason why, because we walk in integrity. But let's just learn how not to be. We are so blessed with this team, with this council. So let's just remember that we have to stay optimistic, because people of Phenix City is depending on this entire team. And I just want to just say, let's keep doing what we're doing for the right reason and for the right motives. So with that said, I am going to say, by the grace of God, we all see each other in the morning, 9 o'clock by Zoom. You all be careful and have a great rest of today. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Amen.
Bye-bye.